Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Second. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland! This is for you!
Hey.
What's up? Let me first say, before you even intro, this is a record. This is the first time we didn't say one word to each other. Like, I actually said, let's get this over with. You didn't say one word to me and just started the show.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the Block the Shot to Stop, a Cleveland Cavaliers podcast where you can see us after every single Cavs game, whether it's good or like tonight, very, very bad. I'm Tim Daniel. He's Kevin Lynch. Skylar Webker's not here tonight. Lucky him.
Yep.
As we are discussing the Cavs losing Game 4 to the Indiana Pacers, 129-109. And if you just looked at the score, you would see that it is not even as close. That makes it look like it was closer than it really was.
100%. Ironically, the Cavs won Game 3 by more than the Pacers won tonight. That certainly doesn't tell the story, though.
Not one bit. Not one bit. So normally we jump on here and we'll do a breakdown of what went right, what went wrong. We don't have to do that here. Everything went wrong. Everything. Yep. And here's the thing about it, Kev, that I'm going to just go ahead and, we're just going to do this because, look, let's be honest. We probably don't need to do 30 minutes tonight on this game. We probably don't need to.
I might need to. I might need to do an hour. I got a lot to vent about.
Yeah. So here's where I'm going to start.
Okay.
I can flat out live with the fact that the Pacers were just hot. I can live with that. I can respect it. It's great. They were great on offense. They couldn't miss. They were excellent on defense. They were executing their defense so well. I can live with that. You can live with the team just outplaying you. Mm-hmm. That's fine. That happens. What I can't live with is that for the first time all year, that looked like a team that didn't have any heart.
Oh
that looked like a team that looked like they didn't want to be there. And I understand that, Mitchell's now got this injury, which if he's not going to play Tuesday, then we probably don't even need to turn the microphones on that day. But just the Jared Allen drops 4 passes in the first half. Mm-hmm. Literally, this is not an exaggeration. 4 passes. They were not very good passes, but at some point, Evan Mobley doesn't look like he wants the ball in stretches. Just flat out, just doesn't look like he wants it. The only way they're scoring is getting foul shots. Mm-hmm. And that's Mitchell, who is pushing the effort and trying to get to the foul line and apparently hurting his body in the process. That's effing great. And then just not getting back on defense and not attacking. Indiana's throwing the ball freaking cross court, wing to wing, and they just have no one in the gap. And it's what is going on here? And then Kenny Atkinson, just flat out, I have not said a bad thing about Kenny all year. I have criticized Kenny Atkinson at times. He coached a horrible game tonight. Rick Carlisle flat out X's and O's, ran circles around him. They're oh, we know they're going to adjust to the 3-2 zone. Not only did they adjust, the Cavs did nothing to adjust back. So the Cavs deserve to be in the spot they're in right now.
Yeah. And I'm gonna come back to the zone. I'm gonna make a note of that because I do have a couple thoughts on that. But I didn't know where you were gonna go first. And the Jared Allen dropping passes wasn't on my board. But I mean, it's easy pickings where to start. This is where I want to start. 4 minutes and change left in the first quarter. Ben Mathurin punches DeAndre Hunter in the groin. Mm-hmm. And didn't get away with it. I actually thought he was going to, but the refs did say what you want about the refs. In that instance, they did a very good job to actually look at the initial action and not just the follow-up of Hunter knocking him to the floor. So that happens. And when that happened, the person I was talking to, I said, that was so dumb by him. He just woke up the Cavs because they seemed like they were sleepwalking a little bit to start the game. To have that happen, to have a guy take such a cheap shot at one of your players and then respond with absolutely no energy This team gets labeled soft a lot, and I would never label them soft. I mean, they're absolute physical specimen, the most athletic guys in the world. Never, but I will say tonight they were mentally soft.
They were.
That was the most disappointing thing by me, is to not only give such a poor effort, but to give such a poor effort after that happened. After, there's been some plays past the whistle this series that the Cavs were upset about, but that was clearly an intentional cheap shot, and you responded by doing nothing, by rolling over. Actually, that's what I'm stuck on, and that's what I can't understand, and I don't know really what more to say about than that.
Yeah, it's so frustrating because I think we can all agree, Cleveland comes out and wins this game tonight, we can go ahead and start playing for the Eastern Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's, can you put together 3 wins against a team who is mentally in your head?
Now, let's be honest. Now it looks incredibly bleak.
Yeah,
like
1,000%.
You have you're down 3-1. Your top 3 players are all hobbled to some extent, as well as maybe your 4th or 5th best player. And you just had your worst game of the year. So you're coming off of your worst game of the year. You're going to be a very good Pacers team 3 times in a row. It's hard to fathom right now.
Yeah, it is. And I can live with just like your body, injuries. It sucks because all the effort Cleveland put into making sure their guys were healthy for this moment backfired at the worst time possible.
I mean, it backfired, but the injuries that they had tonight had nothing to do with that effort in the first half.
100%. 100%.
I have never seen I've never seen this team so just lackadaisical.
I know.
I mean, just it literally looked like a varsity versus the freshman team kind of thing, where it were a bunch of guys that met 5 minutes ago, then got thrown into an NBA game. They're just dropping passes, not being in the right spots, no rotations on defense. How many times did Indiana have Turner or Toppin under the basket against Garland or Merrill or somebody
Strus,
with no even attempt to rotate and help and switch back and things like that? Wow, man. I could have guessed 10 different outcomes for tonight that I could see happening. Some the Cavs winning, some the Cavs losing. I never in a million years would have guessed this would have happened.
Yeah, something felt off as soon as the first possession of the game. Tyrese Halliburton has a steal and a fast break dunk. I went, that doesn't feel good. And the Cavs get that a little rally there. It's 5-5. You're like, okay, cool. So and then they're down 16-5 pretty quickly or something like that. You're like, shit. You're like, absolute crap. And you're like, but they've done this before. This is a team that has been down 20 before and came back and won. I mean, the Celtics game we talked about a million times where they're down 25-3. And I don't even think this is a sense I've seen some people be like, well, the Pacers are just a bad matchup for the Cavaliers. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I just think legitimately, because you can make the case game 1s and 2. If the Cavs are their full roster healthy, they probably win those games. They didn't, but and that's what the record book says. But tonight there was nothing that was redeeming about this performance tonight.
The Pacers are a very good team, that the Cavs need all their personnel. I'll hear that it's a bad matchup for the Cavs game 1 and 2 without Garland, because the Pacers are a team you have to have really solid, good ball handlers against, because they're so aggressive with their perimeter defense. Yeah. I'll hear that, but that's not much. Tonight's game, there is no excuse. I mean, there's a million things we could point out, but there's one thing kind of specific that I cannot believe. So they throw this 3-2 zone at them, which was effective in game 3. They bring it back for tonight. I think you can absolutely bring it back, but you have to bring it back at the right time in spurts, because if you just showed it to them, they're going to obviously plan for it and adjust. So if you think about a 3-2 zone, you basically have one guy at the top of the key and one guy at both of the wings. There should be no reason the Pacers get wide open shots around the arc, what the NBA calls the ATB, above the break.
Yeah.
They shot 8 for 11 in above the break threes. And my guess is of the 11, almost every single one, there was not a guy within 4
Correct.
feet of
Correct.
the shooter. Just, and the execution stuff that can be tough. Like, okay, so here's what I was thinking about. Everyone was really upset after game 2, and some people were like, venting about it, and I get it, but like, I was stunned after that game, but I wasn't upset because the effort was incredible. Just the fact that they ran out of gas and made some execution mistakes at the end. That's life. They're human beings. Stuff like that happens. I was not mad at the Cavs at all for losing game 2.
Me neither.
I am irate that they with their performance tonight, not that they lost, but with their performance. Like, this is like, why have we done 100+ episodes of this show and followed this team and gotten so excited about them and everything, to have them come give this kind of effort when they're down 2-1 in the Eastern Conference Semifinals? This isn't like a throwaway game in January.
Right.
This is your season.
Yeah, I would say this performance isn't acceptable for game 4 of the regular season, let alone game 4 of the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah. And I'll put it on the socials. I don't want to go through it now, but like, I want to look at some of the hustle stats tonight, because I'm sure they're insane, like insanely bad. Just some of the stuff here. I think one stat that is just absolutely, it's mind blowing. I guarantee this hasn't happened to the Cavs all year, and probably hasn't happened in almost any NBA game this year. The first half, the Pacers had 25 assists. That's incredible. Like, an NBA team averages about that for a game. 25 assists in the first half is incredible. The Cavs had 3. They were minus 22 in assists in a half.
A half.
That's unfathomable that could happen.
Yeah. The Pacers had 80 points at halftime. To put in context, the Nuggets had 87 points in their whole game today against Oklahoma City.
Yeah. And you're right about Kenny Atkinson. I mean, let's call, a spade a spade. I thought he made a lot of good adjustments for game 3.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't make any adjustments for tonight. Tonight was like, game 3 worked. Let's just run that back. You can't run it back in a playoff series, especially against Rick Carlisle.
Opponent.
Rick Carlisle is a Hall of Fame coach. Like, you think he's not going to have like counter moves for what you did in game 3? Kenny, you're right. Kenny, a lot of tonight is on the players, particularly the effort. Kenny can't make them have effort. Execution. Kenny probably owns a little bit of that, but a lot of that's on them. But game plan wise, this game plan was awful, and that is on Kenny.
Yeah, it's 100% on Kenny. I agree with you. So to just add to the pain of tonight, old friend Dan Gilbert put a tweet out.
Okay,
it's not in Comic Sans. That's the good news.
Wow, it's a start.
Hey, Cavs fans. ... That's never a good sign. If you've seen The Office, you know what I'm talking about. Yes, it was an ugly one. But we've been here before. Time to get 3 in a row, 2 of them coming at home. Let's start with game 5 on Tuesday. #BelieveLand. Danny, my guy. There's a big difference between what happened then and now.
Yeah, you're right. They also had the best player in the world at that time.
And debatably the second best player in the world.
Yeah, their 3 or 4 best players were not hobbled. And they didn't just put in their absolute worst performance of the year. I mean, go back and look. I know that they had a couple bad ones, but like, I think the first half was their worst half of the entire season.
Oh yeah, they scored 39 points. They just did that to Miami last round, and then they showed up tonight with that.
Yeah, it really, really not good. So again, with about 4 minutes left, I'm going to come back to this. Mathurin punches Hunter in the groin. The Pacers were up 10 when this happens. Cavs were a little bit slow start, but that happens. Who cares? Like, Cavs were up 15 in the first quarter in game 1, and the Pacers erased that lead immediately. I wasn't concerned that, but they from that point on, the Pacers outscored them by 31 points the last 16 minutes of the half.
Yeah,
31 points in 16 minutes after they take a cheap shot at one of your guys, one of your guys who's trying to gut through an injury,
a guy you traded for to improve your roster to win the championship.
Yeah, and yeah, like I said, I hate saying this about this team, and but so mentally soft to be this lackadaisical, to have this little attention to detail, to not respond to the adversity in this game. Yeah, it just could not be more disappointed in this team for all the highs they've given us this year. And there's been a million, and it's been a super fun ride. Even if it ends Tuesday or this week, it's been a super fun ride. I mean, this is definitely far and away the most disappointed I've been in this team. More disappointed in them than I thought I could be, to be honest.
Same here. Yeah. I didn't think this was possible. I really didn't. And I mean, this is just kind of, I think the thing that's so irritating about it is we've been on the show now for like you said, we've done 100 of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Between preseason and now, we've had a show every game day.
Mm-hmm.
We have been the guys who are like, look, this is not just a regular season team. This is not,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to hear this. This is what they're going to hear. They're going to hear all typical Cavs, regular season team. They can't put it together. You can't win with the big four. You're going to have to blow this up. You're going to do all this bullshit. We're going to hear that for months if they can't pull this off on Tuesday.
And it's hard to say. It's hard to say it's wrong.
I agree. Tonight was not in our favor of that argument.
Like, say what you want about the Pacers, and some people said, like, our own Skylar, who we absolutely love, it said like the Cavs are just clearly the more talented team, and he might not be wrong about that. But the Pacers have like playoff dudes,
yes,
and I only positive that the Cavs have one, and that's Donovan Mitchell, and jury's still out on kind of the rest of the team if they're a playoff dude. But the Pacers have a handful. I mean, Pascal Siakam's won an NBA championship. He rises to the moon. You saw how good he was to start the game tonight.
Yeah.
Nembhard and Nesmith have controlled big portions of this series with their effort and physicality and pressure defense. And, and Halliburton's made, amazing, huge plays. Like I don't know if I think maybe he gets a little bit more credit for the Pacers' success than he should, because I actually think that it undermines like the rest of the team. They have really good playoff guys. Miles Turner said that. But man, it's hard to come up at this moment with a counter argument to like, they need to like make some moves to get some, a couple of different guys in this team that'll maybe rise to the moment, rise to the physicality and the intensity of the playoffs.
Yeah. Donovan Mitchell's getting an MRI tomorrow.
Yeah.
So hopefully he is fine to go Tuesday.
Yeah.
Charles Barkley is saying that if Indiana does not win on Tuesday, they are in trouble. Thank you, Chuck. I appreciate you. I know you just want to keep working for a few more weeks.
Yeah, he doesn't want to go to ESPN.
Yeah, he's like, please don't make me go over there. Please keep winning. Find a way to win these games, Cleveland. Man, like I know normally we come in here like, let's talk about an individual player performance. I've got none.
Mm-hmm.
Like I laughed so hard because Jackson Flixinger, who's one of like a great Cavs follow, really, really, really in touch with the team, goes, Darius Garland's really finding his rhythm in the third quarter. And he goes, I know this is grasping at straws, but it's the best I got right now.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into individual players' performance.
Who would we get into? Yeah.
Like the one thing I will say is that Kenny, you have to be willing to kind of to grasp at straws at this. Like, I'm the last guy you think you'd hear this from. I think Ty Jerome's unplayable at this point. If you need ball handling, put in Craig Porter Jr. If you have Garland and Mitchell available, then you get more out of Isaac Okoro. Maybe try Jalen Tyson. I mean, at least those guys are
Javonte
physical and athletic. Yeah. And so I think you have to be willing to, go away from your typical rotation at this point. I understand Ty Jerome was technically only like a -4 tonight, but
he took 3 shots.
But it was it's hard to watch. He's getting manhandled in this series. That's the only way to say it. It's basically the Ty excels against defenders who aren't disciplined. And the Pacers defender not only have great defenders that are way more athletic than Ty, but they're also disciplined. And so he just doesn't seem like he has much of a shot to be super effective this series. But yeah, not going to run down through individual performances, but the only thing I will say is, if they come out in game 5 anywhere close to as lackadaisical tonight, I want to see him put in some of the third stretch guys before the end of the first quarter. I want to see Okoro in the game. Throw Jalen Tyson out there. Throw Javonte Green because
throw Tristan Thompson. He's going to play. He's going to try.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit stunned. I'm not again stunned they lost. I'm not any of like the thing. I'm just stunned by how. If you didn't know better, if you were just watching it, you're like, do they care? That's how it came across. I'm like, do they not care about this game? Are they happy to get one in Indiana and then think they're going to take the next 3? Like, it's wild to me to not, put it on the line a little bit more than they did. And I don't know. We'll see. I mean, obviously, we hope like crazy that Don's okay. I'm positive he will do everything he can to be out there on Tuesday. But and I was really hoping. Actually, we should talk about this, Tim. I was hoping when he didn't come out for the second half. I'm like, okay, I'm like, that's actually not a terrible move with the miles you put on him. This, like, just get him some rest. We all know he's been dealing with a little bit of a calf thing. Yeah, whatever. And then they showed that clip of him just trying to take a shot at warming up for the second half, and he just crumbles to the ground, grabbing his leg. And I'm like, oh no, like that's an awful tough guy to not be able to give it a go.
For sure
in the second half. So
I will not listen to any of this bullshit about that always comes out about Donovan Mitchell every year in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I will not listen to that after the series he has had to have this moment.
I won't listen to that. And you know what else I'm not going to listen to, Tim, is referee criticism. Because referees, they're so inconsistent. They killed the flow of the game. The refereeing's been disappointing this series because they've just haven't. The best referees call what they need to call and let the game flow otherwise. And this refereeing crew has not had a good hold on the series to kind of allow the things they've let a lot of big contact go and then call chippy fouls. So it's inconsistent. That's inconsistent. But I heard a lot of people complain like crazy in the first half, blaming the refs for the Cavs being down 41 points. Let me tell you something. The Cavs shot twice as many free throws in the first half as the Pacers. Both teams were called for exactly 15 fouls. The refs had absolutely nothing to do with the Cavs' performance tonight. This one, they have to own it.
They have to own it completely. So you said something that is very out of character for you, and it's my turn.
Okay.
It's something out of character for me. Evan Mobley. You've been my dog. Mm-hmm. I have been the president of the fan club. I have sang your praises more than anyone who has a Cavaliers podcast. I can assure you I have sang those praises more than anyone. Buddy, it's time. It's time. Today you were bad. I know your numbers don't look bad, but you were bad. You didn't want the ball. You shrank. You flat out shrank. It's time to step up, dude. This is why you were the 3rd pick in the draft. This is why you are the guy that everyone thinks is the future of the NBA. This is why you yourself went and said you are going to be one of the 2 best NBA players in the world in 5 years. Prove it Tuesday night. This is you. You're in your house. You're down 2 games. You got to find a way. You're the guy. Mm-hmm. You can tell me all you want about, the Cavaliers need to find a way to get Evan Mobley the ball. Yeah, I agree. But Evan Mobley's got to find a way to get Evan Mobley the ball. It's time. It's effing time.
It's so simple with Evan. If they put Miles Turner on him, spread it out and let him break him down. if it's anyone but Evan Turner, he needs to get on the block and he needs to hit the offensive boards. Like I don't think he had any offensive one offensive rebound tonight. Why is he?
It was on a tip.
And let me tell you, there were a lot of opportunities for offensive rebounds because they were
building houses.
They're building houses tonight. That I have said it before. Evan does need a little bit of a mean streak. I'm not going to be beat, and if you can't get me the ball and I can't get the ball in certain spaces, I'm gonna hit the backboards and grab it myself and dunk it. Like right. I'm gonna get a steal or get a block and just go coast to coast. I'm gonna do something to like imprint myself on this game. And he was pretty good in game 3 coming off an injury, but I think a lot of his points kind of came to them within the flow of the game. I don't think he like really tried to assert himself as much. He certainly didn't in game 1, and he was injured at some point during game 1. We know that. But even against the Heat, like he has not been nearly as aggressive as we want him to be. Like I said before the series started that very soon, if not already, Evan Mobley is going to be the best player in the Cavs. Like after 4 games, I have to walk that way back.
Me too.
And so yeah, Evan, put your head down, get the ball, go to the basket. Like I understand like him being able to shoot threes is amazing. If he gets a couple open ones, take them, let it rip. But like he needs to get to the basket and make his imprint. He needs to score at the basket, and he needs to protect the basket on the other end. That's what they need from him in this series, because he's getting outplayed by Miles Turner. You can't say you're going to be one of the 2 best players in the league in a few years and then get outplayed by Miles Turner in a playoff series. No offense to Miles Turner. He is a good player. He is not nearly as talented as Evan Mobley is.
Right. Yeah. 100%. This is a guy who's compared to Kevin Garnett and Chris Bosh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kevin Garnett and Chris Bosh did not have moments like this in the playoffs. They had bad moments.
Yeah.
But man, not like this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm struggling for. I was trying to look for any kind of positives. I mean, they were plus 20 in the second half. That does anything. If that does anything for you,
they had an avalanche in the third quarter, but it didn't matter.
Doesn't help a lot when you're down 40 at halftime. But we've called out Evan. We've called out Evan. We've called out a couple of guys. The guy we need to call out more than anybody is Kenny Atkinson. Yeah. Like, to be honest, like Kenny needs to put everything else aside. He is harped on consistency, and we need this guy. We need that guy. We need this guy. He needs to literally throw everything at the wall like you do in the NBA playoffs when your back's against the wall and you're facing elimination. He needs to play guys more minutes. He needs to sit guys that just haven't been effective. If a guy hasn't been effective 4 games in a row to start this series, odds are he's not going to be effective in game 5.
Yeah.
So you need to go to somebody else. You either need to stretch someone else's minutes or you need to try one of the other guys. And the Cavs are they have 12 guys on this team that are legitimate, potential playoff contributors, and 3 of them they've barely played. So like I said, if you have to go to your bench, maybe try somebody else that could be a little bit more effective, and particularly the guys who have a little bit better size and more athleticism, because that's what Indiana has. And the Cavaliers who don't have that have really struggled in this series.
Yeah, 100%. Anything else you want to touch on, or you want to just?
Only thing I touch on is I hope these Cavs prove me wrong. In game 5 right now, I have little to no hope for game 5. It was such a mentally soft performance tonight, as we said, and I hope they prove me wrong. Cavs, come out, show a lot of resiliency, respond to the moments, be the more physical team, go to the basket, take the game to Indiana. They've only taken the game to Indiana for part of game 3. The rest of the series, Pacers have dictated the game. Be the more aggressive team. I'm not saying you have to I'm not saying go old school NBA and knock guys on the rear end while they're in the air and do anything dirty, but take the game to the Pacers. And if they don't then their season's going to end. And all those questions you just said about like, do they need to make roster changes? Does this not work? Do they not have the right guys to respond to the moment in the playoffs? All those questions are going to be asked, and it's going to be hard to come up with answers.
Yeah. Like if you play like hell on Tuesday and you lose, I can live with that. Mm-hmm. If you play like you did tonight and lose on Tuesday, then you got a lot of explaining to do.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's all I got, man. I love doing this. And it's not like we won't do off-season ones. I don't want Tuesday to be our last show of the season, like or at least post-game show. Like Cavs, like between now and Game Time Tuesday, I'm gonna rally and I'm gonna talk myself into them. Just need to get Game 5, and then it's a 2-game series kind of thing. Like they've won 30 games in a row, probably 10 different times this season. Like I'll get there. So I hope they do too, and I hope they kind of, like I said, respond on Tuesday night.
So I'm looking real quick before we get out of here, just because I'm now curious to see how much tickets are for Game 5 on SeatGeek after tonight. You can get tickets for $40.
Whoa!
Yeah. You're in Loudville, but still. Playoff game, $40.
It's tough.
That's right. Yeah, that's pretty brutal.
It's tough. And for goodness sakes, protect the ball. 14 turnovers and a half.
Jared Allen, catch the damn ball.
And in fairness to Jared, that is the whole team. He dropped balls, but as you said, some of those passes. Why are you throwing a pass to Jared Allen and his ankles when he's on the baseline 15 feet from the basket? Like, what's he going to do with the ball right there? Like, just horrible decisions by the whole team. Like, protect the ball. That I can't believe. I can't believe 14 turnovers and a half. That's like. I think that's more than they average for the game. I think they only averaged about 11 a game this season, 10 and a half a game, something like that. Oh my gosh. Just, protect the ball. And Donovan, if you need an ankle, I don't know how good mine is, but you can have mine.
Same dude, for sure. All right, man. Well, I think we got off our chest.
Yep.
Now we can sit here and think about tomorrow and get ourselves believing on Tuesday again, because it's what we do. Mm-hmm. But one way or another, we'll be back Tuesday night after the game. And I hope we are talking about Thursday at that point.
Me too.
So I'm Tim Daniel. He's Kevin Lynch. Skylar Webker's not here tonight, but should be here on Tuesday. We are still diehard Cleveland Cavaliers fans no matter what happens. We just want to be happy like you all do. If you're checking us out for the first time, I'm sorry this was the night you had to, but please do take a second to subscribe to us, whether it's on YouTube or your podcast app of choice. Thank you all. Have a good night. And hopefully we're not saying this for the last time, but
go Cavs.